You gotta come with me, I need your help.
What's wrong?
You're never gonna believe this.
I believe it.
My army! Koopas! Koopas! We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
Welcome to the Now Playing Podcast Super Mario Bros. Retrospective Series.
A video game based on your many adventures.
Part of Now Playing's video game movie review series.
It just don't get no better than this.
Hosted by Arnie.
My Koopas! Your king has returned!
Justin.
Hello, Maggots.
And Stuart.
We're adorable!
This podcast may contain detailed plot spoilers and mild language.
Fresh meat for the grinder.
Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody want the dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody want the dinosaur.
Today we're discussing the Super Mario Galaxy movie, starring Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Benny Safdie, Donald Glover, Glen Powell, Luis Guzman, and Brie Larson, directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek. This is the Now Playing co-host who's still a work in progress, still working through my demons, I suppose, Arnie.
And Stuart.
It's a me, Justin.
Has it only been 3 years? 3 glorious years of absence between what we're doing now and seeing that first Super Mario Brothers movie.
Doesn't seem like long enough. I mean, it seems to be a global phenomenon.
I was mad because I wanted to see Project Hail Mary in 70mm IMAX. Sorry, 70mm IMAX. Project Hail Mary is no more, so we can show Mario Brothers on IMAX. And I just looked, and so many theaters have so many screens devoted to this, and it is opening slightly smaller than the first one, even though ticket prices are slightly higher. It looks like it's going to make 190 to 200 million on its opening weekend. That's just domestic versus 205 million domestic for the first one.
It's going to make $200 million this weekend. Jesus Christ. Let's talk about the money makers that calculated how to create this. Not the artists that made this film. The people that stand to get $1 bazillion, $200 million this weekend.
Right.
What shocks you is that they used actual writers, that this wasn't AI. It wasn't like they just plugged in, okay, here's the games we want to market, go. It feels like that, but they did bring Matthew Fogel back, who, of course, everyone loved his take on Big Mama 3, like Mama, like Son. We'll have to do that series to be sure, but I do think that's probably the best Big Mama movie.
And I'd probably prefer to talk about that than what we're going to talk about today, honestly.
We talked about this in the first one, and I think it's just becoming apparent again to us that this is not the Mario for our generation. That time has passed. We're 2 generations separated from what they're aiming at here.
I think that's so interesting because it means that we can't come at this with nostalgia, right? We're not remembering it through the lens of, oh, I remember this level. I remember that boss.
Oh, but we are. As the opening logo shows us, this year is the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, and they're going to shove references to all 40 years of games into this movie. There were definitely things in this movie that hit my nostalgia bone. They go underground, and I hear that tinkling score from the 8-bit game, or the climax of this movie is partially witnessed in 8-bit graphics, with Bowser falling into the lava just like he did in the 1986 game. So while half this stuff, I'm like, I don't know what you are, half this stuff is stuff from the 80s. They're literally putting 40 years of Mario games, throwing in a dash of non-Mario games, putting it in a Starbucks Frappuccino machine, and selling it to you for $17.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hop into this, Arnie. Let's shove that plot down their throat.
I mean...
Brie Larson voices new character Princess Rosalina. She lives in space raising the infantile star-like Lumas. They live peacefully until Bowser Jr., voiced by film director Benny Safdie, attacks, kidnaps her, and tries to use her power for a galaxy-destroying Boomsday weapon. One Luma escapes and goes to the Mushroom Kingdom to find legendary heroes Mario and Luigi, again voiced by Chris Pratt and Charlie Day, and the Luma wants them for help. But Mario and Luigi and their new dinosaur friend Yoshi, voiced by Donald Glover, don't actually go on the mission. They're left to take care of the kingdom while Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess Peach and Keegan-Michael Key's Toad join the Luma to find Rosalina. They go to the Gateway Galaxy where they pump Luis Guzman, playing mob boss Wart, for information. He tells them to go to the Space Junk Galaxy and find Bowser Jr. and Rosalina. Back at the Mushroom Kingdom, while Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi deal with Jack Black's breakout character Bowser, who was shrunken in the last movie to a tiny size but now swears he's reformed, his son, Bowser Jr., attacks to rescue his father. The Toads escape, but Peach's castle is taken into space with Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Tiny Bowser aboard. They end up crashing on the planet of the Honeybees, where Bowser is restored to full size and proves he's reformed by making himself a prisoner so the others can go on to, I guess, stop Bowser Jr. is their plot, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, mysteries.
But minutes later, Bowser Jr. breaks Bowser out of prison and slowly re-corrupts his dad to the side of evil. Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi meet up with Peach and Toad at the Gateway Galaxy, where Peach has booked passage to Space Junk Galaxy with pilot Fox McCloud, a character not even from Mario games, but voiced by Glen Powell. Bowser Jr. shoots down Fox's ship, but the heroes radio for help and are rescued by the Lumas, flying Rosalina's flying castle. And in that castle, Peach discovers she and Rosalina are actually sisters, separated as children when Rosalina saved her from unknown, unnamed bad guys and sent Peach to the Mushroom Kingdom for safety. Bowser, now totally evil, and his son want to use the Boomsday weapon to destroy every planet that rejected them, and the weapon requires draining Rosalina of all her star power magic. Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Peach confront Bowser and Bowser Jr., rescue Rosalina, and destroy the weapons using the sisters' shared power. Bowser is defeated by being dropped into lava, but he comes out a sentient skeleton of himself and keeps attacking. But eventually, he and his son are beaten and taken to jail, the galaxy is restored, and everyone returns home to build Peach's new castle, where they're now joined by Rosalina and the Lumas. As credits roll to a first credit scene where we see Bowser Jr., and as they call him now, Dry Bowser, are prisoners in a prison where the warden is Luma Lee, who was Bowser's own captive in the previous film. The tides have turned and Luma Lee promises them their only release will be death. As we go to a second credit scene where we're back at the Gateway Galaxy and Princess Daisy shows up just to say, we're going to keep making these things.
It doesn't say anything.
Yeah, they haven't signed any contracts for voice actors yet.
Clearly. All right, yeah, the insults come really early. We start this with, some Princess Rosalina. I've never heard of this character. What game, can I ask?
Super Mario Galaxy.
It's shocking how little work is done in storytelling. And so to start with someone like, I'm going to read you a bedtime story and pretend that this is a narrative is a slap in the face to me. I'll also laugh, usually you hire celebrities to do voiceover work because they bring character. Jack Black, we recognize his voice. It's its own character. Brie Larson, here's someone that couldn't make it in the Marvel universe and the Fast and the Furious universe. What's she doing here?
People were knocking on Nintendo's door saying, I want to be part of the sequel. Donald Glover saw that first Mario movie, called his agents and said, you contact Universal, I want to be Yoshi. And Glen Powell is calling Nintendo and saying, listen, if you ever do Star Fox, I want to be Star Fox. And Nintendo is like, we're going to actually have Star Fox in this movie, and we'd love for you to be our Star Fox, Glen Powell. The same way Kirsten Dunst says, I want to be part of Minecraft, these people say, I want to be part of Mario.
If it's true, it's even more embarrassing.
I was shocked at how little Rosalina actually speaks. She mostly either vamps while waving her wand around or looks pained in a cell. There's really very little dialogue to be had, but we've got Benny Safdie here as Bowser Jr., a villain that I'm not super familiar with. He's been in a lot of games. One I never played is where he started, Super Mario Sunshine, but he's got this magic paintbrush that just to me is Venom from the Tom Hardy movies. It creates this purple goo that can encompass him in a super suit or create whatever he wants or create tendrils to throw Rosalina into a wall.
It's very Venomish, right? I mean, he's not turning people evil or mad with it, but yeah, it's got the same vibes as Venom's symbiote.
I would go with Harold and the Purple Crayon, but same idea, right? Yes. His imagination is what powers it. And we'll find out his big thing is that he has created a planet based on stories his dad told him. He has brought fantasy into life. He is a creator. And so in that way, he's one of the more interesting characters. He's going to take Rosalina there and put her in that purple goo, and her lumen star is going to escape and come back into the story at the end of Act 1.
Yeah, it actually doesn't escape. It's captured with her and chained up and just put in the cage with her only to escape later. Why it couldn't escape now? Honestly, there's so many questions I have about why things happen in this script.
Yes, it's the thing that's going to prompt the characters. We do know what they're going to do for a majority of this movie. But as we get into it, and they've got a whole lot of people to meet, Mario and Luigi are riding dirt bikes around in some kind of desert where pyramids are put in upside down. I imagine this is a game.
All of it's from a game.
Sure.
Yes, they are in Toast Arena, where I like the design of the Toastarians because they're like Mexican Day of the Dead creatures who speak Spanish. I enjoyed their look.
I mean, I like Coco. I don't need this.
And they go into the cave where they find Yoshi in a warp tube, and they're like, how did you get in there? And remember at the last movie, the last credit scene was Yoshi hatching in Brooklyn. And Stuart, you had an audience member that said he was going to cause so much trouble for the next film.
Oh, God, that's right.
And I was expecting this to be maybe Yoshi's Island, the movie, not Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. There's so much stuffed in here that Toad, who's completely sidelined, at one point just goes, so now there's a dinosaur and we're just all friends with it and that's it. And that's kind of how the script is yeah, we're just going to find a dinosaur and he's a friend now. We have no time for character development. He's just one of the brothers now. And my favorite scene of the movie. Now, I don't know if Notorious B.I.G. has been dead long enough that now he's safe for 4-year-olds, but they're going to play some Notorious B.I.G. as they have a montage of Yoshi in New York City. And much like the dog fighting the plumbers in the last movie being the standout scene that has no relation to the plot, this vignette of Yoshi in New York City scored to Notorious B.I.G. I love everything about this.
I'm not going to dog on this scene, but I will say that it doesn't accomplish the one thing it's supposed to do, which is tell us how Yoshi got into the pipe. Where did it come from? It was just an egg somewhere that hatched, went to a museum, and some people chased it back into the pipe. If that is an explanation, you're going to really like this movie.
We know he got there as part of the warp chaos that happened at the end of the last movie. His egg was a relic of when Brooklyn merged with the Mushroom Kingdom, and he was just left in a sewer alone. Again, if he stayed in Brooklyn, Yoshi in New York could have been its own spin-off movie, the same way Minions have their own movies apart from Gru.
I mean, let's stop on that. Why aren't the plumbers back in New York? Why are they riding in dirt bikes in some game level? You want to reorient the characters to a world that we're connected to. This is a huge mistake to just say that they run around in video games all the time.
It can be done. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 never really came back to Earth after Peter Quill was taken from it, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 never returned to Earth except in a flashback. Star Wars was never on Earth. You can have people just living in fantastical situations like the Princess Bride. I'm not having a problem with them not returning to Brooklyn because the games never returned to Brooklyn. But give me character, give me arcs. The last movie was weak on them. This movie doesn't have room for them. There's nothing.
Doesn't even try. Doesn't even want to.
No, I mean, when they're going through to find Yoshi, Luigi's like, I'm not that scared guy anymore. Yes, I am. I mean, is this movie finding his bravery? I don't think so. He just is an adventure where the characters are as static as their 8-bit representations at the start and end of the film.
And as far as Brooklyn being a part of this, it's a little more confusing than that because there is a scene where they're standing in their old bedroom. That's where they start. And this whole thing is just a mess of do this, do this, do this, and do this. But Brooklyn is here, but we only see their bedroom for a second. They had been playing Excite Bike on the Nintendo on the TV, but it's more about forgetting that whole Brooklyn thing. We're going to see Yoshi there for a little bit, but we're going to go to all these fun game locations now.
Galaxy. We're in space. I mean, that's what the title tells us. Like, we're leaving Earth way behind, and these characters are untethered from human problems and concerns. Yes, Luigi has some anxiety, and we will hear that Mario would like to ask Peach out. These are things that will never develop.
No, Mario never does ask Peach out, which should be the end of the movie, and Luigi has nothing to do. This can't be rewarding work for an actor.
No, only when you go to the ATM, right? That's when you're happy that you did this. But no, this is So here's the real surprise. I figure when they find Yoshi and Donald Glover is doing some kind of Jar Jar, I'm like, whatever. It's not the first time I'm going to be thinking about Star Wars during this. But I figured he was going to take the whole thing over like Jar Jar. Even he. What is his arc? He was born in an egg. He likes to eat things. And he and Toad start out as frenemies. Toad is resentful when he shows up at the Mushroom Kingdom and is eating his candied apples. I don't see that get resolved.
It does. On the dinosaur planet, Toad finally comes around to Yoshi and is riding him and having fun, and the two are bros.
Yeah, but we don't see that happen. They don't even hang out together to learn how to like one another.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, any basic movie. I understand I'm watching a kid's movie. That's even more important that you draw these lines cleanly so that children can follow them. What they're telling me is we have no regard for your storytelling. We are here to sell and hook people on games.
So frustrating. You're right. Like, this movie is without a moral to try to imbue upon its viewer. And it could have been as simple as, hey, here's how to become friends with somebody that you didn't like right away.
Yeah. I mean, the first movie was about two plumbers that nobody believed in. There you go. Simple as it is. That's what that movie's about. You tell me what this movie's about. I can't.
It's about the reunion of two sisters. We have Princess Peach at the beginning. It's her birthday, but it's not really her birthday because she doesn't know when she was born. This is the day she was found by the Toads. She doesn't know her backstory. She has some memory of getting torn apart from another woman who we know is Rosalina. And so this movie is the reconnection of two sisters, but I don't see what that changes. Like, I don't see that Princess Peach has a flaw in her character that is caused by her lack of knowledge of her background that then she overcomes. It would be more of a character arc if she becomes self-actualized without ever finding out about her sister, instead of just, oh, okay, now I know my background. I have a sister. End of movie.
Late in the game, she's going to find a book and just read. And here's all it is. Yeah, me and my sister are the only things on a planetoid. Like, there's nothing else. It's like The Little Prince. You know, you're just walking around on a planetoid and there's nothing else there. They could only remember each other. I don't know what else they could do. They play patty cake and it somehow changes the universe, is what we're told. And while she has a memory of her sister, she thinks trying to grab onto her, what we'll find out is that she pushed her to this Mushroom Kingdom. She wanted to save her from something that they have yet to reveal.
And I did my research to find out who's this unseen enemy? Is it a tease for what they're going to face in 3? Maybe it is a tease, but there's no lore here. In fact, that was never even put in the game. They're not sisters in the game. They're just different princesses. And the writers are like, we need a connection here. Let's make them long lost sisters and kind of rip off Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm getting a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 off this. Not only are we going to see baby Groots later on, but the fact that these two sisters had the star power, that they can create anything, reminds me a lot of Peter Quill and Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where they have their battle just creating stuff, the way Bowser Jr. has a battle just creating stuff with his paintbrush. I'm feeling a lot of that other Chris Pratt movie in here.
You're doing a lot of work for this movie that it didn't do and should have. I mean, yes, you can see lots of other movies in this. I will keep going back to Star Wars, and that is because this is a hollow shell that is calling itself a movie that requires you to put in a whole lot of spackle if you're going to sit inside it.
Yeah, just with Princess Peach, her entire arc is that she's bummed out that it's her birthday, but it's not really her birthday, so that's why she's gonna sit alone and watch fireworks, and I just could care less. If that's gonna build to something, great. It really doesn't, outside of, like Arnie already said, she finds out Rosalina is a big sister she forgot she had.
Yeah. And Mario is going to use this opportunity to try and get to first base, maybe, right? With a pink umbrella. He's wrapped up a pink umbrella in a box. I remember an umbrella in Donkey Kong. She had one there, right?
Yeah, I think there was an umbrella that was like extra points, like the cherries on Pac-Man on the fire rivet level where you picked stuff up. But her parasol is actually from different games that do allow her to float instead of just plummet. It is the weapon associated with her from games from the 21st century. It's not a Donkey Kong callback.
But we get an Eye of Aldani scene here, right? Like, they're watching fireworks, and then a whole bunch of colorful meteorites are streaking across the sky, and one of them happens to blow up off in the distance, and they run off to see what it is, and it's the yellow Luma that was with Rosaline when they got kidnapped by baby Bowser.
Yeah, and again, here's just a perfect example of how we're not going to justify anything. It says something very quickly about Mama's been taken beyond the Gateway Galaxy, and before you know it, Peach and the Toadstool are gone. Huh? What? What's happened?
And the Luma was hooked on the brothers. She came for Mario and Luigi, and this is called Super Mario Galaxy, not Super Peach and Toad Galaxy, but Peach is going to leave the brothers behind to stay at the kingdom while she goes, and sisters are going to do it for herself.
Terrible mistake. The worst mistake of this movie is that you have Mario wanting to talk more with Peach, needing to build that relationship, and they don't go off together. That makes no sense that she is going to leave Mustache behind and have this with a toadstool nobody cares about.
It needs to be those two taking off, and then Luigi and Toad going after their friends.
Yes, Yoshi and Toad. They're the supporting characters that try to maintain the kingdom while the main characters are having the galaxy movie. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. Terrible.
You don't even have to be a writer to figure that out.
No, apparently not. It's shocking that we're going to have the two most important characters pulled away from each other to have Act 2s separately that seemingly have very little meaning. I mean, I think Mario's storyline is a little bit better because it brings back Bowser, a very different Jack Black than we got last time.
I thought he was going to be more of a bad guy in this one. This scene where we're reintroduced to Bowser and he's painted himself like the cover of a romance novel with a six-pack and the princess and everything.
Heavily featured in the trailer. It was the selling point.
Yeah, so I thought because he's showing bursts of anger here and saying, I'm going to tear you apart, I thought he wasn't really reformed. But we're going to be told and shown he actually means it. His book club has helped him work on himself, and so he is trying to become large again, but become a friend of the Marios and no longer their prisoner. Luigi seems open to it. He's been in the book club, and Mario refuses to believe it.
It's so shocking and so counter to the way Jack Black assisted the movie last time, right? You felt last time he'd be like, hey, I got this song. It's called Peaches. Let me do this. And they were like, let Jack Black be Jack Black and we'll get more comedy infused in this thing. And this thing doesn't have any musical numbers and it doesn't have any comedy in this thing. And it's so strange that the major comedic villain is going to largely, after this scene, I can see why they used it in the trailer. It's like his best moment. He's basically going to feel like Mario and Luigi are his people. That's so bizarre.
This is a shameful misuse of Jack Black, right? Like you said, you let him do his thing, and the part here where they are going to let it be somewhat funny, it's funny that Bowser's miniature, he's living in this castle, he's deluded about his lot in life, whatever. Like, even the little jokey bits you can tell were written. They weren't allowing Jack Black to be himself. These were just goofy little cartoony quips that they were thrown at the audience. And I guess if you're 5, it might be funny. If you're a Jack Black fan, I'm just sitting there going like, what are you doing, Jack?
I just imagine him having like a couple hours in between leaving the set for Anaconda and Minecraft 2 and being like, okay, I'll do it real quick. What do you got? You know, like not really invested. But I'll say this, the animators are invested. If you're going to like this thing, the thing that it retains is it takes those 8-bit, 16-bit graphics and we get this spectacular chaos, right? When this UFO comes down to grab the castle, I can't really track what the hell is going on. But yes, Junior's trying to get Dad again. There's a whole lot of amazing destruction.
When I rewatched Super Mario Brothers, the first film here, I agree with what we said in the show. That is a gorgeous looking movie. The animation, the lava, all of it was so spectacular. I was blown away by the visuals while repulsed by the writing. And here, I feel like they didn't up the game enough. I'm not wowed even by the lasers taking this cannon. I feel like when the UFO comes and everybody gets scanned green with this green light, that's a reference to a movie we've seen. I'm trying to think, was it Alien? There's some movie where a green light scans the entire ship and probes it in that way, and I can't place that green line.
There's a million movies that do that. Yeah, it's in Aliens, and this is called a cliche. We know what's happening. Yes, a flying saucer is coming down and lifting, beaming up the castle, and for whatever reason, I can't exactly track it, it just ends up dropping it into this B world.
Yeah, that was confusing to me. I thought they were lifted up and they just dropped it right back where it came from, but apparently they were over a completely different planet at that point.
Yeah, something called like a honeycomb world.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had changed planets either, but Bowser Jr. shows up to attack them with his paintbrush that allows him to take on different forms and paint different weapons and things.
He can create anything with his paintbrush, and so it goes from being a spear to an axe to a mace, and there's a whole lot of shenanigans. I think that this paintbrush is the thing that's really important, that's giving him his power. But it gets knocked out of his hand, and the mech comes back, and there's this little magician Koopa, Kamek. Yoshi eats him, and then him out as an egg wearing the same glasses.
You say him out, and I do have to ask a quick question that this movie drove home. Now, mostly in biology, it's females that lay eggs. But I believe Yoshi is a male. It's voiced by Donald Glover. They refer to him as he, but he's laying eggs, and that is a reproductive feature, but then he's eating things and it's coming out as eggs, so he's not birthing an egg, he's pooping an egg, right? This is excrement, because it's what he eats coming out his back end. That's a poop egg, right?
Yes, correct, yes. And you know what? The Emoji Movie already made us okay with liking poop. I guess they feel the need to disguise it with eggs. But it's wearing Kamek's glasses, so he has turned him into, yes, excrement. I don't know. It's weird. Yoshi, again, not utilized in this movie very much.
No, Donald Glover, if he really was like, I want to be Yoshi, has to be upset that there's so little for Yoshi to do here.
Oh, and voice acting wise, this is another Groot situation. It was kind of funny that you get Vin Diesel to say, I am Groot a bunch of times. This is another waste of a paycheck. Like, why is this Donald Glover? He's not bringing any Donald Glover-ness. He's not bringing any Childish Gambino-ness to this role. It's literally just a bunch of squeaks and yahoos.
And I wondered if it was even digitally modified where anybody could do this. And now I've convinced myself, I haven't seen behind the scenes, that Donald Glover has a wide vocal range, and he could probably go, Yoshi! A whole lot without digital modification. Still, it doesn't sound like him. It sounds more like the video game character than anything he brings, and I don't feel like the animators are putting his attitude or any of his style into the character. They're sticking to the game design, so there's nothing Childish Gambino about this Yoshi at all, but he does cause chaos. He blows up that mega leg, and that's what causes the castle to fall from space, and Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Bowser are all fine crashing from space into Earth, and that's when I realized this movie has no stakes. You know, in a game, your character falls off a ledge and do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Here, Mario falls from space and just keeps going. I'm like, there's no stakes here. Literally, anything can happen to anyone. And if I'm not amused in a Three Stooges kind of way by the chaos, I'm certainly not going to be in suspense.
No, Arnie, you've got it backwards. There are no stakes in Mario games because you can always play again after you die. And that's the world. This is Looney Tune logic, where Wile E. Coyote can go off the cliff 1,000,000 times and is going to be okay. That's what they're trying for. Literally, that kind of slapstick is, when this thing is at its best, what it's doing. But Mel Blanc, this is not.
And it's Mario who really has rage issues, not Bowser in this, because Bowser and they are walking on this unknown planet that looks just like the Mushroom Kingdom to me.
Yeah.
Shocker, they're on this honeybee kingdom. But Bowser is begging to be turned big again, and he calls Mario a tiny, pathetic failure of a plumber. Mario gets mad and stomps him, trying to squash him. But of course, if you take a hit when you're on a mushroom, that just returns you to normal state. But Mario was trying to squash him like a beetle, and that never comes up again.
They're doing things that they do in the game, and I give some grace to that, of like that slapping. This, what is Bowser? He's a dinosaur too? He's a lizard?
Yeah, he's a Koopa.
Yeah, slapping him makes him grow giant. Okay, I'll go with that. Whatever. It's the repartee's not funny. It's the fact that you have Chris Pratt and Jack Black, talented comedians who could be doing funny things, just not.
And Charlie Day as well. You know, I mean, Charlie's a funny guy.
I'll also throw Issa Rae in here. You know, she had a funny HBO show, Insecure. She can be funny at times. Why does she do this 2 minutes playing a queen bee and tell no jokes? I'm stunned by the level of talent. It's almost like these people signed off their likeness to an AI that went and made this movie in a weekend. This feels like AI gone wrong.
You are being far too mean to AI. AI does so much better than this. Only humans can have this level of incompetence, Stuart. And AI is going to follow a structure that it has stolen from a million other movies. Only humans are this incompetent, because I had to go back to see this movie a second time, because I'm like, wait, they're captured by the bee, and the bee takes Bowser as a prisoner. Literally the next scene, he's broken out of jail by Bowser Jr. This means nothing.
Right.
And we'll never see the queen bee again. Why do that?
And Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi are taken to the Gateway Galaxy, where they're going to meet up with Peach. Why did they have to encounter this queen at all? In the games, the queen is their friend. In this, the queen is like threatening them. You crushed my flowers when the castle crashed, and it's so pointless. And I also don't understand why in the Gateway Galaxy, Luis Guzman is going to show up. This is all time-wasting, IP referencing nonsense.
Well, here's the thing. It's real simple. It's not wasting your time if you're laughing. The point of a comedy is to make you laugh, and it doesn't really matter how they get there. These are all very funny people. You give this moment to Issa Rae because now Issa Rae is going to take you there, and she didn't want to get off the throne. You know, literally, I imagine her again recording on the toilet and being like, what do you want me to say? Okay, yes, I'll take Bowser instead of the plumbers. The end.
But in a regular narrative, this queen bee and the frog that we met along the way would show up in the end to help our heroes overcome the big bad at the end, right? Like they would have something else to do.
Yes. Every road movie helps you create a path in which you get to your conclusion. There's a meaning to every stop. Otherwise, it just becomes frivolous fun. And if it's not fun, if it's not making you laugh, then yes, you really have to ask, why am I enduring this? What is anyone getting out of this.
I want to question your basic premise. You say the point of a comedy. I've never thought of this movie as a comedy. Is it supposed to be funny?
Yes.
Because there's literally one joke in this movie that I find somewhat amusing. The rest of it, I thought this was an action movie. I thought this was an adventure film. I never thought of it as a comedy. Where's the jokes?
That's what I'm asking. This is a lighthearted movie that is meant to be a romp, and there are no jokes. You have cast a series of credible, quality, well-proven comedians to not be funny in a movie that doesn't utilize them for more than 3 minutes.
I would argue you guys just did the perfect recreation of an actual real-life event that happened in the writer's room of this movie when the execs walked in, right? Mm-hmm. Is this a comedy? I don't think so. I think it's an adventure thing. It's due in 2 weeks. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah, and the creator told us we have to get these 5 games in here somewhere. So we're not writing jokes. We're writing copy. We're writing promotion for these games.
There must be some obsessive reverence for the movies to take the red-headed stepchild of the franchise, America's Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Bros. 2 has no Bowser, has no Koopas, doesn't play like any other Mario game. It's more of an RPG than an arcader. I loved it when I was 15, but why do you bring in an underground mob of every character from Super Mario Bros. 2, all these ninja and led by Wart?
Yeah, when we cut back to the actual adventure, you told me this is about sisters reuniting. That story is happening. Peach and Toad get conned into going to a casino. They're at some airport. It's referred to as the Gateway Galaxy, which just looks like a bunch of pneumatic tubes. And some monkey named Yukiki grabs their bag and they chase it to a casino. That's Super Mario Bros. 2? You're telling me this casino?
The casino isn't, but everybody in the casino is. In the game, there's not that much storytelling outside of what you read in the book, but there is a character named Wart who is your final bad, kind of the Bowser of that game, and you do defeat things not by jumping on them, you actually can ride them by jumping on them. You pull turnips out of the ground and throw turnips at things, and so Peach is going to pull a turnip out and throw it at Wart here to defeat Wart. And I don't know why we had this, and I walked out of it the first time I saw this movie, like, did this even lead to anything? On the second time, at the end of this scene, Wart says, if you want to find the Luma's mom, you have to go to the Junkyard Galaxy. But this is a hell of a long side quest just to get a road marker as to where to go next.
Agreed, yes. You're not following a plot. You're following it through visual animation splendor. The other problem I'd say is this casino doesn't look that different from the Bowser planet. You talk about this animation not taking it to the next level. It looks as good as the last movie. It doesn't look better. I'll agree with that. It doesn't create the idea that there's a whole universe of very distinct, different looking worlds to explore.
I will give them this, though. Like, I did appreciate the somewhat MC Escher style of this casino, where you can walk on all 6 sides of this interior cube. That was kind of fun, and it made for somewhat of an interesting and different action scene, which I think is here just to remind us that Peach is a badass, right? She was kind of an action star in that first one, and she really hasn't had anything to do in this one other than jumping through a star into the galaxy and landing on this planet. So to throw this in here isn't really bothering me. I'm enjoying Luis Guzman. It's always fun to hear him. He's always a funny guy. So out of all the randomness thrown in this movie, this scene is bothering me less than most of them.
You know, it's just so tough to contextualize all of this. This scene, of course, could work. This scene could be a real winner if you had created a context in which we cared, right? In which we actually understood why they were there, what they got out of being there, and enjoy the repartee while they were doing it. This movie always succeeds in terms of splendor. It feels like a video game. It feels like I just walked into an arcade and watched really amazingly graphic games going off one by one as I walked past coin op after coin op. What I am arguing is this is no movie.
Agreed. I couldn't figure out what the point of this was.
What is the point?
It looked great, but what I liked was the giant floating cards in the air. If you played Mario 3, and I played a ton of Mario 3, there was a card game. It was like a match game, and if you could match the cards, you got a power-up or an extra life or something, and that's going on in this casino here. But yeah, this whole battle against Wart where Toad gets the dolphin suit and slides around is noise. And I'm finding this movie very noisy, and maybe I'm old man yells at Cloud about it, but that's where I'm at.
No, you're not wrong. Again, you're not wrong about this is deficient in terms of children's entertainment. Wizard of Oz. They needed to find the Scarecrow, right? Something needed to come out of this casino. This is where they should have met Star Fox, right? They should have met Star Fox drunk here saying, I can't fly a ship. And he's going to have the arc of learning that he can fly and be a cool ace pilot again. Like, it's obvious. You set a character in one place so that he can be in another at the end of your story. No, they just run into Glen Powell's Star Fox on the pad. I actually don't know what he does or contributes to the movie. He tries to fly them somewhere, but it doesn't work. And I didn't recognize Glen Powell. I guess he has some cachet for being in Top Gun 2. Is this a Top Gun joke that he's the pilot?
I believe it is. I read somebody say after Top Gun 2, only Glen Powell could be Star Fox.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody that is a press agent for this, planting it into our minds, insisting that they have the perfect person to be Star Fox. I'm not sure who that would be. I will say that this never registers as a character. I think we're supposed to think he's a romantic rival that gets in the way between Mario and Peach. Right?
Yeah, catch some side eyes from Mario.
I don't get that at all. Not at all.
Oh, Mario gives him a stink eye.
Well, let me tell you how I get there. So we have, first Peach running back to this gateway place and asking Rob the robot where to find pilots.
My favorite reference of a movie full of references, I had Rob. A lot of people didn't have Rob, and there were only 2 games that used Rob, and one of them I don't even think was released in the States. I could never find it as a kid.
I thought he was called Gyromite.
No, that's one of the games was Gyromite. He was Rob, your robotic operating buddy. And that actually meant something to me when I was 13 because I'd moved to Florida and had no friends there. It was summer when I moved. I wasn't even in school to meet people. I had no friends. I needed a robotic operating buddy, so I had something to call a friend. And that was mine.
Jesus Christ. You're going to make me cry in the middle of a flippin' Super Mario Galaxy movie over some real Arnie.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to lean on Rob of all things, which as I recall, everyone thought was a thing. Yeah, you could buy the Nintendo in lots of different formats. You could get maybe the glove or the gun and Duck Hunt and all of that. But if you went big, you got this cumbersome robot that, did it talk? Did it move slowly?
It did move very slowly. And that's the whole thing is Gyromite, you'd put a controller in and it would spin things and they'd have to spin like tops.
Yes, I remember that.
And they'd only spin for so long, but they were really well made, metal, and so they'd spin for minutes and minutes at a time, and you'd need Rob to pick it up and go and put it in the spinner, and then go and put it on the balancing thing to open doors in Gyromite, and it was slow as can be, but I played the hell out of Gyromite. It was the only Rob game, and so when Rob's here and he's like, that's the sound the thing made, too. It's constantly this,
Okay. That's why I asked if he spoke, because that's the joke. The punchline is he's very slow and he elongates his vowels and everyone has to wait. He's giving out information that's important, but you have to wait 2 minutes for him to finish.
It's because he's turning, and that's all Rob did was turn. And it sounded like grinding gears while he did it.
Yeah, Nintendo is finally making a joke about itself instead of saying that referencing itself is a joke.
To me, it was funny because my memory of Rob, I don't think I ever saw one actually in action. It was always off to the side because it didn't work, or whoever owned the Nintendo was like, yeah, that's not worth it. So it was just funny to see them, like you said, making fun of themselves and adding a voice to it here. To me, the funniest joke in the movie.
Mine too. Other than Yoshi's little montage, my favorite reference is Rob.
But my point for bringing this up is like they have the Peach goes to him and then Mario goes to him and they finally have the reunion of all the characters are back together on the same screen like they always should have been, never should have been separated. And Mustache gives her a handshake and she turns and goes, and we're getting a ride from him. And I thought for a minute, I saw in Mario's eyes, oh my God, she's moving on to some silver fox.
But it's very, very brief. And part of my problem here is that as soon as they show up, I mean, obviously Star Fox is in this, as are Han Solo. He has the ship that's going to provide them. And again, while Star Fox and Mario may have shown up together in Mario Kart games and Super Smash Bros. Games, Star Fox is his own franchise. And they even reference that with an anime-style animated opening where he's like, I'm from an anime universe where I have Star Fox. This guy isn't even named Star Fox. His name is Fox McCloud. Star Fox is his team. And so he comes from a anime universe. His warp drive sent him into Mario universe. So not only are they going to reference everything Mario, we're going to bring in this, and Pikimon are here too. Toad walks past some Pikimon, and they're from their own game.
Does that did anything to do with Pokemon or something else?
No, confusingly no.
Okay.
They're little creatures that you pick out of the ground.
All right. Well, I get that Nintendo is going to put everything Nintendo. This is an MCU universe for Nintendo.
That's what scares me the most, is not Super Mario Brothers 3, but that we're going to have the Fox McCloud movie, and the Pikimon movie, and the Nintendo movie. Movies.
Yeah. We're going to be here forever.
Yeah. Movies. Yeah, it'll be like Rob, like we're just going to be wading through this. I used to like podcasting about movies, and now I'm just stuck with Rob.
But the dialogue is just telling us how to feel. Toad literally says, gotta love a space rogue. And Mario's like, I like your ship. And Fox is like, I like your stash. And then Fox turns to Peach, I like this guy. Okay, we get it. We're supposed to like them. You're telling me they like each other, so I like them too. Can't you show, not tell?
If you were actually having writers, you might be able to work that in, not in the agenda here. I'll tell you, the one that's interesting that is liking them all is Bowser, right? He has been rescued. He's reunited with Junior, and Junior's proud to say, I ditched school and I've stolen this ship and we're going to go be badasses again. Junior is really surprised. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome that his dad doesn't want to hurt these guys. When Fox McCloud is blasting off, they're giving chase, and Son agrees to go with a lesser cannon. He could blow them out of the sky. They have a cannon they could use. But instead, he goes for something that you're going to have to explain, Arnie.
It's the Super Scope, whereas they had the Zapper pistol for the NES to go bigger and to make sure cops didn't think it was a real gun. They had the Super Scope bazooka for the Super NES. And so that's what he pulls out when his dad tells him not to use the Bill Blaster cannon that would shoot the big bullets. He uses the Super Scope to turn Mario and Luigi into Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, as seen in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
I figured. But again, I really cringe that we have to have this moment of them as cackling babies crashing the ship. Again, I think about Looney Tunes. I think about like Foghorn Leghorn and the little chicken or something like that. Like, I say, son, what you doing over there? And it getting into trouble. Like it's a lot of little babies wandering into trouble in the form of a sleeping T-Rex. Again, why is this happening now, here, and without context?
This whole sequence feels like it should have been like the short that they showed before this movie.
Perfect. Yeah, all of these moments could be really winning if you had done the work to bring it together.
Agreed. And they're not just being random. They're referencing Super Mario Odyssey, where T-Rexes were in Fossil Falls. It's just craziness that they have taken all of their properties, and it feels like they've put every location and everything in like a Mad Libs format. Instead of having a logical progression, it becomes random reference, and much like the last movie, where we all agreed the dog that they had the little battle with in the plumbing opening didn't feel like it was animated like the rest of the movie. This T-Rex feels like another super detailed model Illumination had on the disk drive and pulled out, because he does not look of the same style. He's very textured. He roars with the exact sound effect of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. And I'm like, this feels very realistic when you've got these cartoon babies crawling out of his nose and licking his eyeball. The audience went nuts when Luigi licked the eyeball, by the way. They loved that moment.
Ugh.
Huh. Okay, my audience, they weren't loving this, or at least they were silently loving it. They were not having a big experience. It made me wonder, is this movie working for anyone? I know it wasn't made for me, but are the fans being served?
Mine were, I mean, again, cheers. I could get the kiddies getting excited over dumb stuff, but the parents were applauding. And I'm like, are you applauding just to make it so like your kid feels okay to also cheer? Or are you really as into it as this? I don't know if it was performative or real, but adults and children were going apoplectic.
I mean, I imagine the gun could be turned on this audience. I mean, again, if you have a history of playing this character, perhaps you regress. Like Mario and Luigi, perhaps you're a baby in this moment. And again, I think this moment could work. Again, I like your idea. Just make it a short to play before another Illumination movie, a Minion movie or something. And I'd go, oh, okay, that makes sense. But to say it's a part of this movie, we're supposed to be in space, folks. What's going on? I'm angry.
No, you're supposed to go from planet to planet. That's what Super Mario Galaxy is planet to planet across space.
Yes, in outer space. Where are planets? They're in outer space. We're supposed to be having a space adventure. Poorly conceived. I mean, basically, Luigi radios the stars to come pick them up. Princess reads the storybook and goes, oh, it's my sister. And they all kind of head to this Bowser planet that Son Jr. has explained through a puppet show was Dad's idea, right? You made it up for me as a bedtime story, but I'm the one that actually created it. I don't think he made it with the purple brush, but maybe.
No, I think he had Koopas doing construction for many years. I have a lot of questions. Like, we know Bowser was literally at the altar with Peach. Would that have been his second marriage? I did research. There is no knowledge in lore as to who Bowser Jr.'s mom is, but he seems like he was a single father going out trying to rule the galaxy and then coming home and giving his son puppet shows about ruling the galaxy. And you would think in a normal movie, a normal kid's movie, the father seeing the error of his ways would mean the son sees the error of his ways and they all end as friends. But this is actually going to pervert that, where the dad's like, you know what, son? Evil is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to take over again and throw axes at my former friends.
It's Star Wars, right? This is Emperor and Darth Vader, and is there still some good in Bowser? I hear that line being said. I do think that there's a turn. There's several turns about whether Bowser can be brought over to the good side or remain evil as we get to this clearly a Death Star, right? There is a ray that the princess is made of stardust, and she is actually the fuel. Disintegrating her will allow them to shoot down anything in this galaxy.
Yes, the Mario games ripped off Star Wars, and this is ripping off the Mario games, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we have a big climax in which we have to make all these characters do something. I gotta wonder, what does Star Fox do? I hear he's doing barrel rolls with a bunch of Lumines, but how does that help anyone?
It's underplayed, but he first pilots the Comet Observatory, which is Princess Rosalina's home/spaceship. He pilots it like a motorcycle through the airships, which are all of Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s big pirate ship-looking things.
Yeah, there's a fleet of pirate ships with turtles on them. Yep.
Yeah, from Mario 3. And then Star Fox ejects Mario, Luigi, Toad, Princess. Then you see in the background, all the airships are chasing after Star Fox so that they're not focused on the ground battle that's happening. We just don't spend any more time with Star Fox because we got to get this in under 90 minutes. and so we're not going to see the space battle that matters. But basically, this is Lando Calrissian at the end of Return of the Jedi taking on all the Star Destroyers so that the ground crew can get the shields down to destroy the Death Star.
Kinda, but Lando at least takes a shot that destroys the Death Star. This is them ripping off the wrong Star Wars movie. This is more them ripping off like one of the sequels where it's just, yeah, there's stuff going on in space, but it doesn't really matter. It should have been Han Solo coming in to save the day at the last second.
You have Glen Powell. I imagine he didn't come cheap. You use him.
Yeah. We get some old school references here, right? Like we get to see Bowser and lava and a drawbridge and axes and all that fun stuff that we remember from our days of playing Super Mario Brothers.
This is the point of the movie, right? This is what it is in stark relief. Here's the 8-bit version. Here's what we can do now with animation. Cutting back and forth between that is showing everything that this movie is interested in doing. We can make video games alive.
I think it references even a meme that, have either of you seen the stress-inducing, I need a Xanax after watching this game of Mario where there's 8 million of these spinning flames and this guy is just like ducking each one and jumping each one? I'm not even playing and I'm sweating watching this guy go through that. I think that's what they're referencing here because there are so many spinning fireballs.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but the point is everyone's doing a little bit of something. Princess uses her umbrella, right? All these bombs are coming for them. She's able to hover above the lava while they fall off the cliff and explode in the lava below. And things are happening. People level up. At one point, Mario is a giant screwhead. Luigi is a cloud. I don't know what it means and I don't care, but yes.
And Yoshi's a blimp. And yes, I looked all of these up and these are all powers. And this is the moment in the movie where I'm like, even on the second watch, I can't keep track. Mario is digging underground while Luigi is throwing clouds in both Bowser's faces and Yoshi is floating. And I'm like, it's so much visual noise. It's not like the movie's too loud. I like loud movies. But there's so much happening on screen and cutting so chaotically, I can't even enjoy it. Plus, none of these references mean anything to me because I didn't play the games in which you could get the screw power or the cloud power.
Right.
Yeah. And they're so quick to rush into the next reference that they're not really relishing anything that they're doing. You can never spend enough time to really enjoy anything that's ever happening on screen before they're off to do something else.
Yeah, it's like a Chinese buffet with 800 dishes so that everyone will find one thing they like, but you have to go through 799 things you have no idea what they are to find it.
And you're on a conveyor belt that's going past the buffet bar at about 50 miles an hour. So grab it real quick, whatever it is. Just stuff your face with it and hope that it's delicious. It's not delicious. Anyway, I guess Mario brings down the axe, cuts down the drawbridge, and it seems like he kills Bowser, right? He falls into lava, and we've had a definitive kill for our major villain. Junior's heartbroken, and then he comes back as a skeleton, and I guess this is to say that you can never reform him. Bowser will be evil from this point on.
And I guess this happened in the Nintendo DS New Super Mario Brothers, as you think you've beaten Bowser by dropping him in the lava like all the other Mario games, and then Bowser comes out as a skeleton and your boss battle isn't done yet. So this is a direct reference. It was also teased earlier. You got to see a bunch of Koopas going on a roller coaster through lava, and when they all came out of the lava, they were all still alive, but skeleton Koopas.
I can imagine that being cute in a game. I can imagine making it cute in a movie. And this mishmash, which I refuse to call a movie, I'm perplexed. I'm perplexed as to when will this stop? And they switch gears again. Well, okay, so now he's evil, except his son gets eaten by the very purple dragon he drew. And so now they like Mario? But then Mario's going to lock him up?
I don't think they like Mario. Mario feels bad for Bowser and Bowser Jr., so he eats the red star to give him flying powers and save Bowser Jr. Nobody's hugging Mario. Bowser Jr. is hugging Bowser Sr.'s skull and then helping Bowser Sr. find his femur and all his bones, but They're not like, Mario, we're your friends now. So no, I do think that they go to prison. I do have to call it, were either of you confused or did you just give it up and like it's a reference to something when Luigi paints the stick figure guy? Because that is the deepest cut of this whole movie.
No, Tyler did play that game, whatever it was.
It was an LCD game or a number of them that Nintendo put out, you know, handhelds before the Game Boy where they just had LCDs, kind of like that old Temco football game that there were. And they were handheld games or watch games.
I was about to say, on your watch. I know those games on your watch, yeah.
Yeah. So this guy apparently has shown up in Super Smash Brothers and he's just called Mr. Game and Watch because this is the shape of the guy you played in 1,800 of those released in the 80s. So he's the deepest cut.
They must have had posters of him too, like hanging up at Toys R Us or something, because I definitely recognized that silhouette. I always thought like, wow, they're getting real close to like infringing on that Disney copyright of a character shape.
But the point is that Junior and Bowser now have been rescued by Mario, and the beef should be squashed, right?
Who knows? Was it squashed in the last one?
I don't think so. I think both end with Bowser having done bad and paying for his crimes in jail, right? Last time it was a tiny castle jail. This time, Luma Lee, my favorite character from the last movie, waits till an end credit scene to show up and again give the most damning, eerie lines like, trying to escape, first goes the body, then goes the bones. You can't silence the truth, it only makes it louder. Favorite character again.
Well, yes, morbidly inappropriate for a kid's film. So, yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of meetings about whether we let this thing come in, at least the first time. Now it's a beloved character, so they can do it just a little bit.
I feel like there was another one of these when Luigi's no longer a baby. He's like, I liked being a baby. A lot of scary thoughts running through my head just disappeared. I don't know why that line spoke to me. I'm like, Luigi needs meds.
No, I did. That was my favorite line. That was my very favorite line. And you know that was Charlie Day doing something. And they were like, okay, let it slide. No one will hear it. I heard it. But you told me this movie is about sisters reuniting. Let's not forget, in the middle of all this hogwash, Peach is climbing a gyroscope to get to a glass container that has her sister in it. And she finally remembers, oh yeah, you dangled me. I thought you were trying to hold on to me, but you were actually shoving me away to the Mushroom Kingdom. And now we need to play patty cake again to harness the powers of the universe. They turn Bowser Planet green, and again, it feels like it's a healthy place. All the lumens come back to Mama. It is kind of funny that they're like, we want to go see Peach in her castle, and it's just a hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had our 8-bit Mario referencing because of the Bowser Jr. operating system. Now we're going to go into Super Mario, 16-bit looking stuff as Yoshi's going to spit out bricks to build the castle. And we're going to end with Mario getting a cape feather and flying and putting a flag on top. And is this character resolution? Because the credits are rolling. I'm like, is Mario now dating the princess? Is the princess cool with the sister that abandoned her? Is Bowser a friend or an enemy? Has anything been resolved? Am I on Earth? Am I insane? Again, to go back to the Luma Lee, in the last movie, she said, in the land of the crazy, the insane one is sane. I'm like, am I the insane one or the sane one in this?
You're watching the world become insane is what I would say. I had a similar reaction because it was the one time my audience reacted. They exploded into applause. As that castle was being built, they were all applauding, and it startled me. Like, I jumped out of my seat. I'm like, what? People are excited that this is happening? This means something to somebody that this castle is being built? You're telling me that this is from a game.
I don't think they built a castle. I'm just saying they used those graphics for a castle building montage.
I think they were cheering about the Mario feather thing. That was a big thing even back in the day. It was like, oh, Mario can fly a little bit now.
God, I couldn't imagine why anyone would be applauding.
That's the question.
Yeah, but one more thing. I mean, we mentioned the mid-credits thing, but at the end, a tease for what happens next, maybe. Yukiki is still trying to rob people in that airport terminal and is thwarted by a new princess that goes by no name, and you told me is Daisy, which means nothing.
Daisy is like Luigi's girlfriend, if Peach is Mario's girlfriend. And Luigi said, you got to ask Peach if she has a friend for me. Well, that's what we get here with this. Again, they don't want to commit to an actor at this stage of the game, but this is making me feel like every Sonic the Hedgehog movie where at the end somebody shows up, I don't know who it is, and my audience is all cheering. And also Five Nights at Freddy's when somebody shows up in the credits stinger and it means nothing to me, but everybody in the audience is going insane.
This is what my experience is when we go to the MCU movies. You guys know what that new character is, and I go, what the is that?
So Justin, Stewart, should audiences play Super Mario Galaxy the movie? Justin.
I mean, it's not going to be any shock that I did not enjoy this movie. I didn't find much joy at all here. I think I mentioned it last time around when we were talking Super Mario Brothers. There's a ton of movies that are designed to throw kids in front of while mom and dad do stuff around the house and kind of keep the kids out of their hair. And every once in a while, they'll walk through the room and something will catch their eye and they'll be like, oh, hey, this is kind of cute. And they'll watch for like 3 minutes and then continue on with their day. And it feels like that's exactly what these movies are designed for. If mom and dad are not supposed to sit down and watch this movie with the kids because there's nothing for an adult here. Once you get past the, oh, I remember that, and look at that, that's from this game and that game, there's nothing here for an adult, which is absolutely crazy to say, coming from Nintendo and Illumination, two of the biggest properties on the planet. You would think that storytelling would be central to what they're trying to do here. It's easy to take a very recognizable property and just mess around in that world for an hour and a half. But what's more difficult is to rise to like Pixar's level or even DreamWorks level and tell a story, give a moral to kids, anything that is beyond just looking at flashing lights and recognizable characters on screen. It blows my mind that nobody else is asking for this. Like, so many people go see these movies, they make billions of dollars, and all you hear in other people reviewing it is, oh, this one wasn't as good as the other one, but it's still great. I still love it. And it's like, what are you looking at? It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the reference you guys had before about being at a buffet and finding the one thing you like. If that first movie was anything, to me it felt like possibly a little bit of medicine hidden in some candy that you might like and enjoy eating. But at the end of the day, really didn't do much for you. This movie is a buffet of fake food that we're happily chomping down and not realizing that it's just styrofoam and there's no nutrition whatsoever. We're just going to walk away feeling sick. So I can't even be disappointed because I knew what we were getting into after the first one. I knew they weren't going to go above and beyond and all of a sudden find the desire to tell a story. So yeah, it's not even disappointment. It's just a red arrow.
Stewart.
I'll start with the criticism that I think will be universal. Everyone can agree on this. If you're not already in the fan club, this is not going to win you over. If you don't know Mario, if you've never played a Nintendo game, you don't start here, right? You have to be a fan in order to have any kind of connection and find any kind of meaning in all of this. And look, I'm not a Nintendo player. I had no connection. From my perspective, all of this was so meaningless. It never touched my life. There was never a point where I said, oh, I remember myself in relation to what's happening on screen. So that matters. If you don't have those tethers, this is not going to work for you. I will also say that I don't have children, but I can respect that adults and children want to find entertainment that they can share, that adults particularly can pass down the things they love in childhood to a little one in their life and have a shared joy. The old one can become young again. The young one can understand the adult. I think that can be a beautiful moment. And yet I can't help resenting the audience, not the filmmakers, but the audience that is going to give this so much money that Hollywood would rather make movies this way than all the movies that were good. Think of all the things that were up for Oscars that nobody went and saw and aren't going to be made in the future. That the craft that I love, that filmmaking itself, I can't help feel like I'm participating in its death by giving something like this its money. Like, I feel dirty. I feel like I participated in some unholy ritual by giving $15 to something that is destroying movies and storytelling. It sickens me. It's a nightmare. But I realize most people are not going to experience Super Mario Galaxy as that. But I'm fighting that urge. I'm really fighting not to be mad at people for saying this is good enough. I get you like it. You want to have something meaningful with your kids. To me, this is not it. This is not acceptable. There are so many great kids films, so many other things you could do. Play the video games if you must. But to do this with your family is to thumb your nose at storytelling. I mean, again, it just makes me so mad. I suppose it visually looks good. It's bright and shiny and works in the way that watching a video game demonstration would. But I just want to underline that, the MCU does this all the time. They take minor characters. Guardians of the Galaxy were characters that nobody knew. Even Marvel comic book readers did not know who those were. And they were able to convince you through the power of storytelling that they have meaning and purpose and can offer something for you. I remember you guys talking about, I don't remember what his name was, Louis the Leaper or something, in one of those, like, Captain America's fighting him. And you're like, this is a deep cut.
Batroc the Leaper.
Batroc the Leaper. Louis. It's Louis from now on.
Louis. Like in Interview to a Vampire, since he's French, he's Louis.
Yeah, Louis popping in there. Like, for people, they can go, I remember that issue, deep whatever, but you didn't have to have that experience to know that that was a great fight. You have to do the work of a filmmaker in order to sell the property. I ain't going to hate on them because this is a commercial proposition and they want to sell a bunch of video games. I resent them for calling it Super Mario Galaxy Movie. It most certainly is not a movie.
I didn't like the first Mario Brothers movie, but it made literally over $1 billion. So what motivation does the studio have to try harder? None. And what hope was there that I'd like the follow-up? Also, none. But I didn't expect to hate it with the intensity of Captain Ahab spotting a whale.
Yeah.
Every character shows up like they're late for Ready Player One, but everyone is as 2D as the 1980s sprites from which this nightmare was birthed. Yoshi was teased at the end of the last movie like he'd matter. It turns out he's just here to exist loudly. Then you've got Fox McCloud wandering in like he took a wrong turn at a Super Smash Brothers casting call. This is like inviting Gregor Samsa to a Fast and Furious movie. He doesn't belong there. This whole thing feels like a 4-year-old dumped out a toy chest down a flight of stairs and said, "Look, Mama, I wrote a script." Now, statistically, if you fire enough bullets, one might hit something, and I'll give them that. Rob was a nostalgic chuckle out of me. One, that's your bullseye. The rest is drywall damage. Meanwhile, my audience is losing their shit every time a character blinks. I felt like I was trapped with a live studio audience for a cereal commercial. Kids cheering, parents with especially low standards clapping, and I'm sitting there wondering, what are they on and where can I get hooked on it?
I don't want it. Get him to rehab is what I want to do.
Look, I did it. When I was 7, I loved dumping out all my Star Wars action figures and smashing them into my He-Man figures in a chaotic war that made 0 sense. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't charge people $17 for it and call it storytelling. But I think that's why movies like Infinity War work, is because they're using every toy in the toy box. But Infinity War earned its chaos. That movie took 10 years and 18 movies, introducing characters slowly and letting us know them before combining them in a symphony of destruction. Mario Galaxy throws everything in, and it's not a symphony, it's a middle school marching band all warming up at the same time. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's unfocused. I get wanting to make this a movie about Princess Rosalina. That is a rich story from a game people love. That's not my problem. My problem is they cast Brie Larson, an Oscar winner, and give her character less development than a Goomba. Meanwhile, Prince and Toad are running errands that go nowhere, meeting characters that exist just to justify Happy Meal toys. These characters like Wart and Honey Queen aren't plot points, they're QR codes for merch. I did the math. There are 95 characters and creatures in this movie. That's not counting power-ups, that's not counting weapons. 95 characters and creatures in this movie from Nintendo properties. That bests Transformers the movie, which had 83. And that movie was throwing out one box of toys to replace with another box of toys. This movie just keeps shoving the toy box fuller and everything breaks under the pressure, and the result is a movie where nothing leads to anything and just happens for the sake of happening. Bowser flips motivations like a light switch, and emotional beats land with all the weight of Mario's cape feather. The first movie had bland and ill-defined character arcs, but at least there was a semblance of character growth. In this galaxy, there's not enough room left for arcs when there's so many characters stuffed in. But if this is an ad, if its goal was to make me want to play the games again, it backfired. It didn't make me nostalgic, it made me tired. My simple childhood joy got buried under so much lore that it felt like homework. And the end result is so aggressively shallow, it makes the Minions movie look like the trial. And at least Kafka understood existential dread. This movie is existential dread. By the 1 hour mark, I was as exhausted as Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi after saving the kingdom time and again. I couldn't take anymore. When the credits mercifully rolled and I had to sit there till the end for that last stinger, I saw a disclaimer. This work may not be used to train AI. I hadn't seen that on a movie before. But don't worry, Illumination. Any AI with self-respect would read this script, push it back across the table, and say, even I have standards. This isn't storytelling, it's intellectual property fed into a shredder, sold as confetti. When this was over, my audience felt entertained, I felt processed. These filmmakers showing me this film is like Bowser showing his painting. As Luigi said, I love the colors, and as Mario said, the criticism I'd give you is it's trash. So, to sum it all up,
Arnie, you stumbled into something there. You know, there's this project out there that humans create gobbledygook artwork and stuff, which the whole intention is to confuse AI learning models. Maybe that's what this is. This is a big budget AI wrench in the machinery.
Yeah, I agree. I think that some things were there in that first movie that are missing, like Jack Black, right? Where were the songs? Where was the zest? Like, it just felt so impersonal. And I do believe that no one would think that this is better, an improvement on what they've done. But I fear the horse is out of the barn, and they've probably already gotten 5 movies lined up, right? Penguins will have their movie, whatever those things were.
Star Fox.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My hope, and this is a desperate hope, is that the next movie is just Super Smash Brothers. That they don't give everyone their own offshoot, but they put everyone together in a giant melee.
Yeah, and just end it there. The first one kind of felt like it was made for people who enjoyed playing the games. This one felt like it was made for the people who didn't play the games but watched their older siblings play the games for hours on end.
Yeah.
You didn't even have the joy of remembering the time you played the game. You have the memory of watching your older brother play the game. Awesome.
Yeah. It's frightening to watch people lap up something that feels so toxic. It's like a nightmare. Like, I'm so glad that you guys are here with me, because I would feel alone in this, of this terror, that the world is being consumed by something awful, and I'm the only one that can see it. We still can see it.
Skip this and go watch Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, even Wreck-It Ralph too. I mean, again, I'm not against children's entertainment. I'm against this.
No, I agree, and I'm not being facetious. I like the Minions movies. I feel like there's something in there, like the Muppets, like the better Disney films, like Pixar, something the adults can smile at, something the kids can smile at. I feel Shrek even has that, even though that's kind of getting more and more base as time goes on. No, this is not it. And I do want to shout out also, if you think those were minions in the Gateway Galaxy, those were not minions fixing the propeller fan blade and things. Those are actually Mario characters that just look like minions.
Yeah, Gear something or others.
So we're not doing the Minions retrospective yet.
No, not yet.
We haven't been sucked into that quite yet.
But Minions vs. Monsters, that trailer looked better than this Mario movie, I gotta say. And that literally had a minion wiping his ass with a mummy, and that looked better than this.
Anyway, what are we doing? We're going to go back to Andor, something we all liked. And I think it's probably healthy for all of us to try and connect to a popular franchise at its best. I would say Andor is definitely up there in the Star Wars canon, something to be extremely proud about. And this is season 2 we're covering, the end of it all, how it leads to the Death Star and where it leads Rebel and Imperial alike is really fascinating to watch. I hope you can join us next Tuesday for that.
And if you want to hear a review of a movie that Super Mario Galaxy makes look like Citizen Kane, this Friday, our review of Lake Placid 3 is coming out for donors and patrons.
Yeah, if you're not done with trash yet, we got you covered for several Fridays. Sci-Fi Channel spat that out with a bunch of people you might have seen on Sci-Fi Channel properties. We'll get back to the arcade in about a month. This summer is being kicked off with Mortal Kombat 2, so we will be talking video games, I think, quite a lot in the months ahead, but we do get a little bit of break.
The writer of Mortal Kombat, the first movie of the reboot, promised on Twitter that Mortal Kombat 2 is a lot better than Mortal Kombat 1, and that trailer sells me. Carl Urban's got me excited.
Yeah, they clearly try to focus on the character that's going to bring everybody in. We'll see if they can pull that off in a month.
Fingers crossed.
In the meantime, I don't know how thankful they are of us, but we got some people to thank for enduring things like Super Mario Galaxy movie with us.
Yes, thank you to our patrons on Patreon and Podbean of the platinum level and higher who are hearing our reviews of all the Animal Attack movies and the upcoming Birds retrospective we're going to be doing. So thank you to Mark Burns, Jeremy Conrad, J. Clark Fisher, Adrian Butler, Spencer Main, G. La Torre Yates, Nathan Williams, Trevor Harrison, Martin D. Hibbets, Darker Hue Studios, and Kiefer51.
We also want to thank Gerard Lavelle, Jeff Gannon, Simon Brennan, Grand Canyon, Andrew Doran, Seamus Finlayson, Mark Masicki, Hey You, A.T. White, T. Ward 1971, and Patrick Favor.
Don't forget about Vaj Debater, Tom Ward, Sean O'Keefe, Dimitri from Belgium, Chris Hargrave, Lucas Dosher, Cox J, Jeffrey Gaudreau, Sean Burgess, Kent Lyons, Jeremy Smith, Alejandra Avila, Neil McCauley, Lee Addison, Michael Windsor, Sean Williams, Sky Moyer, Tony Lanzalata, The Fuzzy 0101, Joe Black, Fisher, JA12, Regis, and Garrett Collins.
And we have T. Costa 2176, Tom Jancic, Andy Crake, Jeremy Mills, Chris Cross, make you want to jump, SG Harsh, ZBGB, Jeff Wade, Julian Lewis, Jay Thunder, and Lee Drag.
And final shout outs to our homeboys, Now Playing Fan, Robert Redden. I was supposed to hang out with him last month, but the con got canceled. Show Nuff, Stephen Bell, he's the master. Timothy Graham, Azana Reed, Mohabir Kemraj, and Rudox. Thank you all so much for supporting us, and thank you all so much for allowing us to butcher some of your names.
I agree. You know what? It makes me really happy, though. It's I'm just warm in my heart. No exaggeration. We've been doing this reading the names things for several years now to have the consistency of like, oh, I got to say that name again. And I've never known how to say it. But boy, they're still with us. They've forgiven us, and they are still here. What a great feeling.
And I hope they're still here during this review where we eviscerate the Mario Brothers.
We're always testing that boundary, right? How much can our hate alienate us from the people that want to like us?
Well, I'm sure they'll let us know how wrong we were.
I call it curating an audience.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining us for this review. Whether you're a longtime supporter or a brand new listener, hopefully you want to come back and hear our reviews. I promise, even in the arcade, there are movies we don't hate. So you can check all of those out in the archives. And Justin, Stewart, thank you for joining me. And until Mortal Kombat, game over.
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield? I do not.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Now Playing Podcast.
If you just want to end this right now, I would understand.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
That was intense.
Come back to NowPlayingPodcast.com each week for another new movie review podcast.
There's a huge universe out there.
And in the NowPlayingPodcast.com archives, you can find reviews of other video game movies, including Resident Evil, The Wizard, and more.
I believe you can do that. Comes from sitting on my butt all day playing video games, that's why.
Also at our site, you can find hundreds of other movie reviews, including Star Wars, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Independence Day, the Avengers films, Back to the Future, Batman, Superman, The Fast and the Furious, and more.
I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
Do you want to continue? Insert money now to keep playing Now Playing.
I need Cooper coins, you lame-house!
Now Playing Podcast is a show without any sponsors or ads. We rely on support from listeners like you to keep Now Playing operating.
Yes, I think that proposal would mutually benefit both our parties. Yes, okay, now, hand over the rock.
You can donate to the show and, as our thank you, receive bonus podcasts. Over 150 bonus movie reviews are available to choose from on the Now Playing patron page, including Alien, Night of the Living Dead, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings, Psycho, Troll, and more. Find a full list of available bonus shows at nowplayingpodcast.com/donate.
I've waited too long to let all this slip away.
You can also join the Now Playing patron campaign. Patrons of $10 or more get a new exclusive movie review every month. Plus, even more perks, including one where you can pick a movie for our hosts to review. Find the details on our website.
Come on, Mario!
You can follow Now Playing on Facebook and Twitter, where we post announcements of new episodes and where the hosts post movie mini reviews. Links to our social media pages are available on our homepage.
You're coming with me.
Help us spread the word about this show by leaving a 5-star review on Podbean, iTunes, or your podcast store of choice.
How dare you look at my masterpiece and say that? You think painting is easy? I'll burn the...
Sorry about that. That's the old Bowser talking.
Now Playing Podcast is produced by Arnie Carvalho.
Not sure if you know who I am, but I'm about to rule the world.
Associate produced by Jason Latham. Executive produced by Hunter Gibson, Jeff Gannon, Tony Lanzalata, Garrett Collins, Brent, Morgan Beck, Tom Ward, Julian Lewis, and Andrew Doran.
It is on like Donkey Kong!
Now Playing's video game retrospective series is edited by Heath and Arnie.
Plumber, 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 plumber.
Okay.
Now Playing credits read by Brock.
What my brother is trying to say is he doesn't know what to say. Doesn't even know how to begin.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with the motion pictures reviewed or otherwise referred to herein.
Oh, princess, you're going to regret that.
All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review and no infringement is intended.
We can talk about this later, if later even occurs!
The opinions expressed on Now Playing are those of the individual hosts and may not reflect the opinion of Venganza Media Incorporated.
Still working through my demons, I suppose.
Now Playing Podcast is an exclusive trademark of Venganza Media Incorporated.
That's the problem.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2026, all rights reserved, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the express written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated.
See you later, alligator.
Directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek.
Along with Pierre Leduc and Fabian Pollack. They have co-directors.
They do? Oh, I didn't see them listed on Wiki.
Yeah, Pierre Leduc and Fabian Pollack. Yeah.
They were not listed on Wiki, so screw them.
And now we need to play patty cake again to harness the powers of the universe. With all the referencing, I was a little sad they didn't play Sir Mix-a-Lot's Put 'em on the Glass.
That's too deep a cut. Nobody remembers that but us.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed it. But I still wouldn't have recommended this movie, so it doesn't matter.
Wahoo!